Hey guys, it's Craig, another blog, another video. Today I'm going to be looking at JTAF and specifically building a custom Terraform provider for Junos using JTAF. If you've not heard of JTAF before, it's a really cool project made by some very clever people over at Juniper Networks. And what it allows us to do really is build a custom Terraform provider for our environments based off Yang data. So if you want to manage your physical network infrastructure or virtual network infrastructure estate using Terraform, then JTAF allows you to build those providers for that. So yeah, there's a really great rundown of JTAF on the GitHub repository here. There's some readmes and stuff like that, but I just thought I'd do a quick live rundown of me creating a provider for you as well. Yeah, there's a lot of good information in this repository, some good readmes and stuff like that. But yeah, if we crack on, the first thing you want to do is what I've got here. I've got a working directory just called JTAF examples, and in that I've cloned the JTAF GitHub repo, which is this directory here, Junos Terraform, which is this here. So if you just go here and then git clone this URL, you'll get all this. And in this working directory, we've got this config.toml file, a Terraform providers empty directory, this xpath sample.xml, and this Yang files directory. JTAF, it's split into two parts. There's the process Yang and process providers. I'm not going to run through the process Yang live just because it takes a while to process, but essentially what we need to do is pull down the Juniper Yang GitHub repository. So if we just go back here, and this is the Yang models for all the versions of Junos. I think we're on 19.2 in this lab at the minute. If we go here for SRX, we've got all these Yang models here. So these have been pulled down and placed in the Yang files directory. So if we go cd Yang files ls, we'll grep that out for .yang. We can see those here. One thing just to be mindful of is placing these common Yang modules in this directory as well. For the sake of simplicity, I've just copied all of these Yang models in. I've not really done any dependency mapping, just to get up and running quickly, but you can be as lean as you want to on this, or as verbose or as coarse as you want to. There's no real issue apart from the actual speed of the process Yang to generate the yin and the XPath files. The yin files are XML representations of Yang, and the XPath files are text files that show us the XPath of certain resources in the data structure, which will feed into the second part of JTAF. So yeah, make sure you've got your required Yang files in here, and if you want to know what Yang files you should be putting in. For example, in this example, we are looking at the security stuff. So if I just pull up my VSRX here, if I do show configuration security address book and I just display it out in XML, I can sort of deduce that it's in the security module just by this security tab here. There's probably a more elegant way to do it, but this is the way how I do it. So yeah, so once you've got all those in there, I'm just going to go back. We want to build out the config file in our working directory. So if you just do cat config.toml, there's this Yang directory which points to the Yang files here, which should be populated with those platform Yang models and the common Yang models as well. Don't forget those. the provider dir directory, which is where the Go files for the output will be placed in, which is this Terraform providers here. Make sure that's created. The XPath files, which is used for the second part of JTAF, and it's where the XPaths that you want to feed into JTAF are referenced. So this is xpath sample.xml. And the provider name that we want to create, this is important, make sure you've got this. I've called it VSRXSec for VSRX security. So yeah, let's run the first part of JTAF, or look at how you'd run the first part of JTAF. So if we're in our working directory, change to Junos Terraform, change to CMD, and we're going to process the Yang files that are in the folder to generate the yin and the XPaths. So change to that. This is already built. I mean, I've been playing about with this before, but you will have to build this. So make sure you've got Go installed on your system and just do a Go build. That'll create this process Yang, and then just execute that. So we're going to execute this binary, process Yang, and we're going to point it to the config file, which is just up a directory, config.toml. I'm not going to run this just because it'll take a while to process. I've done this before. I've just pre-staged this in the interest of speeding things up. So that's the command you want to run. And once you've run that, it takes a while, so yeah, don't sit about and wait for it. Once you run that, just go back, look at our config file again. Once you've run that, our Yang files should be, they should have provided a yin equivalent, which is an XML representation of Yang, and an XPath file. So if we just look at this, we can see in here we've got the yin files, the Yang, and the xpath.txt as well. So now we've got those yin files and those XPaths, we want to feed those into our XPath sample XML file, which is referenced in our config.toml file, and that will tell the second part of JTAF which XPath expressions we're looking at in JTAF to build out our provider for. I've already identified those, just using the same methodology really. If I bring my VSRX over, so for this one, for the address book, again, we're in security address book, addresses, IP prefix. I know that's the XPath expression that we want to get. So if I just open this up again, I'm in the Yang files, and if I just open the security XPath file, whereabouts is it? Security XPath.txt, there we go. And I find in here IP prefix. I know for this we're in security address book, addresses, IP prefix, and that's the same methodology I've followed for the rest of the XPaths. So if we look at the XPath sample, all the XPaths I've wanted in the provider I've pulled out. So we've got ones for the address book here, we've got policy source, policy destination, policy application, and then the commit. This is a bit of a Blue Peter example. It doesn't really solve any business case. It's just creating security policy. So yeah, but it's just a representative example really. So once we've got the XPath sample XML file built out, we're ready to run the process providers part of JTAF. So if we change from our working directory into the Junos Terraform directory again, change to CMD, change to process providers. Again, we'll have to build this. I've already built it already, but I'll just do a go build again. And we'll just run this binary. So process providers, I'm going to do config and point it to the config.toml that is up there. And we've built out those Go files which are required for our provider. So that runs pretty fast. So if we just go back to our working directory again, and if we change to the Terraform providers directory, we can see we've got a number of Go files here, which is being generated by the process providers part of JTAF. So the next step really is to build this provider from these Go files. So what we want to do, we're just going to do a go mod tidy. And we're going to do a go build, specify the output as Terraform provider Junos bsrx sec. Cool. And you see we've got this compiled binary here, which is our finished Terraform provider. So to use this, we just need to pop it in the plugins directory for Terraform. I'll just create one now. So mkdir home Craig Terraform plugins Juniper providers Junos the SRX sec /1.1 because I'm on Linux. I'm going to do Linux underscore AMD 64. I mean, your processor architecture will be relative to whatever you build this on, so because this doesn't exist, I just need to specify this as a path. Cool. And so I'll move this Terraform provider that we've just built into that new directory. So if I do an mv Terraform provider, that should be in there now. Just look at it. Yep, cool. So yeah, that Terraform provider's in there, and we should be good to go really. So yeah, I pre-built. In fact, yeah, one of the things that JTAF doesn't do is actually tell you how to use the provider. So a lot of it is born out of looking at the actual source files in Go. If you know how to deduce information from a struct, you're pretty much on your way. Other than that, it's not an impossible task, to be fair. So if I just look at the address book one, I'll just do cat resource security address book IP prefix. We've got the Go information here, and in this struct we see like name one and IP prefix. Yeah, if you know how to look at JSON or a Go struct, you're well away. I think that's the only thing that JTAF's lacking really, is the dynamically generated documentation. But I mean, but yeah, have a bit of fun in you trying to figure it out yourself. I've got some HCL that I built out just before this, some HashiCorp configuration language that leverages the provider. We've got two Juniper SRXs, one where building out the security policy and an address book, and in the second one we are just creating that address book on there as well. So if I just go here, I'll do a Terraform state show, isn't it? Yeah, module's not installed, so we just have to initialize Terraform. So Terraform in it. Cool. The providers have been pulled in successfully. We can see here Junos VSRX sec 1.1 has been pulled in to generate our execution plan. It's Terraform plan, and we can see the full execution plan here, what resources will be created. That looks good. So do a Terraform apply, and again we're given our execution plan, standard Terraform stuff really. Yes, and the resources have been created. Yeah, and that's it. So yeah, I'll put the HCL on my GitHub if you want to look at that. And yeah, that's been JTAF with Terraform. Cheers.